You feel like you've got good community going on. There's local activist groups. Maybe you guys got, local farms you're plugged into. You're growing your own food. You're doing community-supported agriculture. There's people homeschooling their kids. You're getting on the privacy phones. You're encrypting your communication. Like, you feel like there's a lot of good things happening, right? Why the heck would you leave? You're committed to that area. That's what I call holding down the fort. Sometimes it's not by choice. I have heard people come to me and say, yeah, I'm holding down the fort for the moment, but it's because I got this job, or I have this relationship and I can't leave my child, or whatever it may be. So by choice or circumstance, if you feel like the area that you're currently in is where you're committed to, and you want to build there,
what'd you do? Oh no.
There we go. All right. Give it up for the tiny human. That's what we're fighting for, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, for the freedom to just be a free kid. So, if you're committed to holding down the fort, it's time to get to work, right? Get plugged in. Connect with the local freedom cells. How many people here are connected through freedom cells? I know some folks have come and said you have a freedom cell in your area. Let's make that part of tonight's event, right? It's not just for us to come share with you. I want to make sure that you guys get connected locally. If you are local to Franklin, connect with Ryan, and some of the other groups. Maybe at the end of my talk, we can get everybody from Alabama, come over here, make sure you exchange information. Let's make sure that today is not a wasted opportunity to tighten these bonds. This is the key to what we need going into the future, right? Don't let today be a wasted opportunity. So, if you're holding down the fort, this is when you need to start getting connected with other people. If you want to stay in the city, best of luck. Hopefully it's not a smart city, but start getting involved locally in urban farming, community-supported agriculture, backyard gardens, front yard gardens, vertical gardens, rooftop gardens, farm shares. Whatever you got, start doing it, start building it, support people who are doing it. One of the things Miriam and I have done in Mexico is start to connect to the farmers, like the markets we go to. We try to connect to the actual farmers to go visit the farms, the people who at the fruit stands where we buy our fruit. It's a family-owned business, and we went to them last year when there was this sort of concern about things locking down, and we told them, like, look, we want to support you. If they try to lock you down and say you can't work, we'll come to your house and meet you. We'll still buy your produce. Here's our information. Let's exchange. Establish a direct connection to the local farmers if you're not growing yourself. And if that sounds foreign to you, make some effort, right? Again, we're not here to say that it's going to be easy. It's going to involve lifestyle changes. It's going to involve pushing yourself past your discomfort to make these changes, right? So, holding down the fort, you start getting involved, you start building freedom cells, you start plugging in and really trying to make sure that you're holding down the community, and that freedom is going to stay alive there, right? And I think it's probably best if we do this everywhere, right? If we all just move to one location, maybe not the best strategy. And ultimately, we need freedom to thrive everywhere. Who feels like wherever you're coming from, you're committed to holding down the fort? A number of you. Good. The second path is called exit and build. So if you're a person that's looking at your local community and there's nothing going on, there's none of the things I mentioned. You don't know any other homeschooling families. You don't see anybody growing their food or anybody building a counter economy, working on alternative currencies or working on encrypted communications or all the things that you might be interested. You don't see any of that happening. Or maybe you're just not plugged in yet. Maybe you do know the community, but it's just not aligned with your values, right? If you're in that situation, and maybe you're one of these people who you see the big city just a couple hours away and there's all this activism happening, there's food growing, there's community, and you don't necessarily want to be the person to build an activist group up from the bottom, right? I like to create projects and build from the ground up, but that's not everybody's path. Also, has anybody else felt like we're in a time-sensitive situation? Seems like we're kind of at the point where we should get our shit together. Yeah, maybe you don't have 1 to 2 years to build an activist group up from the bottom. It's a lot of effort, takes a lot of self-motivation, motivating other people. So maybe you feel like, okay, I'm better served by just going to the town over, the state over, whatever, and plugging in with those people. They've already got things happening. I can just contribute my skills and my resources, and that'll be a better service to myself and other people as opposed to just trying here, right? Or you're one of the people who've contacted us and say, Derrick, there's nobody on freedom cells. I've searched the maps, I've searched Telegram, there's literally nobody in my area. And sometimes you just feel like that, and you just haven't gotten plugged in yet and met the right people, and then you discover, oh my God, there's this community happening. Sometimes, though, you might be in a community where there are no other people who have the same values as you. At that point, it could be best to decide to vote with your feet and to think, like, are there greener pastures? Is there somewhere else where I can be better served, where I can plug into people and start getting involved to build support systems so that I don't get sucked into the great reset into technocracy? Because for me, the key is this, guy, is that, we've been sold a lot of illusions over our lives, and one of them is this whole lone wolf myth, right? I am a proud individualist that loves my space, my privacy, my little world, but I know that I can't do this alone. I need you guys, and I need the people in Houston, and the people in California, and the people in Mexico and India. We need to build a real worldwide movement of people who are opting out of these systems and starting to build parallel structures, right? It can't just happen in Houston or just in Mexico. It has to happen everywhere. So despite what we might believe, we really cannot do this alone. It's going to take community. It's going to take families working together. It's going to take neighbors working together. This is why it's important to push past their propaganda, right? Because if we're living in neighborhoods and communities where our neighbors have been taught that we're the problem, you're the reason this lockdown won't end. You're the reason this thing won't go away, because you won't get that shot, because you won't wear that mask. That's a dangerous place to be. But if we start connecting to our communities and start building locally, we're going to be in a better position, right? So that's when we talk about exiting the building. You're looking at the community, you don't see much hope there or much happening there. You're just ready to exit and build elsewhere. Does anybody feel like that's their circumstance? You're looking for somewhere else that might be, better for your needs and community? A few people, right? Maybe some of us are not sure where we're going to be in the next year, right? There's a lot of things in flux. So that's exit and build and hold down the fort. I also want to talk to you a little bit deeper about exit and build, this concept. I was just talking about it in terms of physical location, but it's also meant to be in terms of the way you live your life, right? And the principles you live by. I'm really at a point where I'm convinced that nothing short of living in line with our values, backed up by concrete action, is going to create a better world. What do I mean by that? We have to align our thoughts, words, and actions. We can't just talk about the problems and do nothing behind it, right? Did anybody remember last year see the Expose Bill Gates movement that kind of popped up last year, and there was marches and things happening last year? It was really cool. Ryan was a part of helping myself and James Corbett promote that out there. Here's one example. We're out in the streets, we're exposing Bill Gates, we're talking to people about what our concerns are about him, and then we go home to our Microsoft computers to upload our pictures, right? We're working against ourselves. We go out to protest, end the Fed, and we want to go up and buy those fancy end the Fed shirts, and we pull out our Federal Reserve notes to pay for them. We go out and we march against Monsanto, we protest, we rally, then we go celebrate with a dinner of some GMO corn chips, and there's a lot of ways we're working against ourselves, right? Exiting and building is about trying to pull out of those systems that don't align with your values. I'll give you a few examples. The big one for me, and this one usually gets people feeling funny inside, is the banking system. Look, these people robbed you in 2008. I don't know if you noticed as part of these stimulus bills, but a lot of the banks got a lot of money too. Through that, while you got your little $600 check or $1,200 check, they were getting millions, probably billions. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go to the World Economic Forum's website, you guys know who they are, right? The people behind the Great Reset. Go to their, I think it's just worldeconomicforum.org/partners, and you'll find every major bank, you'll find Visa, MasterCard, partnered with them on the Great Reset. Yet we continue to give our money to them. We continue to put our money into their banks. Because it's easy, because it's convenient, because my boss has a direct deposit. I don't know. That's for you guys to decide and think about, okay, why am I doing that? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to say, if we don't align our thoughts, words, and actions and actually live by them, we can't expect things to change. We can march all we want, but if we don't actually live the values we claim to hold, nothing will change. So if you're still supporting Chase Manhattan, Bank of America, etc., you're putting your money in there, and you haven't taken the first step to even look up a local credit union or see what's going on with this precious metal thing or this crypto thing, or I don't know, whatever alternatives feel right to you, or stuff it in your mattress even, that would be better than giving these people your money. If you haven't considered any of that, my friends, think about tonight, why not? What's holding you back? Just start doing the research, start making the effort. You'll be consistent with your values and you'll feel much better. It might be difficult, it might involve some changes, it might involve certain inconveniences, because it's not just directly deposited where you're expecting it, right? But you'll be living in line with your values. You'll be able to tell your children that you actually live the things you claim. You'll be an honest, principled person. And to me, that's more important than being inconvenienced or uncomfortable, right? Let me give you another example of why we should pull out of the banking system. If you're familiar with fractional reserve banking, when you deposit money into their banks, they don't even have to hold any of it. At one point, it was like 10% reserves that they would have to hold. But last year, they announced they don't have to hold any reserves. What does that mean? That means when you deposit a $1,000 check into the bank, Chase Bank or whatever it is, Bank of America, they don't have to hold any of it. Yeah, of course, it'll be there when you come to get your money back. But in the meantime, they can invest it in all kinds of projects. This could be projects on indigenous lands, pipelines or something, maybe things that you don't support. It could be surveillance projects. It could be Great Reset projects that they're using your money for, right? And you literally have no say in it just by putting your money in there. That's one example. For me, I don't want to support those systems, so I exit from them and I try to support alternatives. There are a lot of really scary and concerning things in the blockchain world. Ryan and I have tried to take that issue on with some nuance over the last 6 months, if some of you have been paying attention. But I can also say I've been getting paid for my journalism in cryptocurrency since 2013. Never paid taxes on it. I've been holding crypto, been gaining value through that, and I'm about to cash out and buy land with it. I see positive in that, right? So if that works for you, pursue it. If there's something else, pursue that. But the point is, if we don't actually try and we just keep using their systems, we're only working against ourselves. Another example of exiting and building and trying to build these parallel structures would be the education system. People are learning, more and more people are homeschooling. Anybody start homeschooling in the last year or just starting to consider that? Yeah, I think a lot of people are going that direction. We're meeting them around the tour. My family, even. You know, I have 6 nieces and nephews. They're who I fight for. My 6 nieces and nephews, my brother and sister, they have 3 kids each. They both have kids in the school system. They're not vaccinated, you know, but they know that this is coming sooner or later. And I'm trying to have this same heart-to-heart conversation I'm having with you guys and saying, okay, so you know you don't want the kids in the school. What are you going to do if they announce tomorrow you can't bring them back without the shot? She says, well, I'll pull them out, you know, but I don't really want to homeschool. I know it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a lot of work. So I'm trying to work with her. Let's not wait till it happens. Let's be proactive. Let me plug you in with the local Freedom Cell homeschooling groups and get you connected. Because I think a lot of it is people just feel like they're alone. They don't know there's other families and other people pursuing these things, right? But once you get plugged in, you're like, wow, this isn't so difficult. Now there's a group of us educating the kids together, right? Or we're you know, going in together to bring the cost down. There's so many benefits to working as a community, right? So I'm trying to help my family, my sister, and my brother see that there are ways out of that, instead of them simply just waiting, right? Just waiting for it to happen. Because it's going to happen. So people are considering unschooling, homeschooling. We've been learning a lot more in the last 2 months about forest schooling. Anybody familiar with this? It's like these different cool schools that are around different parts of the country, and some of them have like a regular kind of Monday through Friday typical curriculum, but then they also once a week take the kids out and show them how to forage for food, or show them how to build a fire, or show them how to like get comfortable being in nature outside. Just so many cool options out there, right? And some people travel with their kids to show them the world before COVID. You know, these are different options out there. That's exiting from a system that doesn't align with your values and building something else, supporting those who are building it, right? Because this is one point I want to make about the school system. Hopefully people have come to realize, guys, it's not just the mask. The school sucked before the mask, okay? It's a propaganda center. If you don't know about that, go to thepyramidofpower.net, watch our 2nd episode, I think, about the education system, learn the roots of the state-run education system. It's designed to make workers who are obedient to the state and to the system. It's not meant to make you be a critical thinker. Somehow we all survived the public schooling system. I don't know if we just didn't drink enough fluoride or didn't watch enough TV, but somehow we ended up here. So there might be hope for those who are trapped in there, but the key is to free the minds. You know, there's this really beautiful quote from Malcolm X that I think has just been resonating so much lately. You know, he said, it's never a good idea to let your enemies educate your children. I think that's something we should really be thinking about right now.
Yes.
Do we want these folks to have control of the children's minds and bodies for 5 days a week, 7, 8 hours a day, for 12 years of their life at their most impressionable times? I think that's a pretty scary slope there, so think about that. And again, I'm not here to say it's just as easy as pulling the kids out. I get that. I'm trying to work with my family. I don't have kids at the moment, but we do have lots of resources and people who are reaching out to make this easier. We're going to be launching a program in the next month to help families who are trying to transition to homeschooling, to connect with teachers, to connect with people who can help make that transition, because that's what we need to do. Because I don't want any families in any community, people who don't want to comply, feel like they have to comply because they didn't think ahead, right? That's what's going to happen. There might even, unfortunately, be some of you who are here today who end up complying because you didn't think ahead. And you're like, well, I got to eat. And if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job. And damn it. This is what I was told by my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. He told me, you know, I asked him, I said, what are you going to do, man, when they tell you can't come back to work without the shot? You're sitting here telling me you don't want it. Do you have any plan? Like, are you thinking ahead? I said, I guess I'll get it. I guess I'll just go ahead and get it, because I got to take care of your sister. I got to take care of the kids, you know, and that breaks my heart to hear that, because it's not him being a free person and saying, I made my research and I just feel like this is best for me. It's him being coerced into it, right? So I talked to him and said, really practically, how much money do you make a month? How much do you need to make? What's your standard of living right now? Is there anything that you can get rid of? Do you need the Netflix? Do you need this other thing? Like, how can you bring down your cost of living? Maybe then you realize, you know what, I don't need to be working 60 hours for this company. I can cut my workload in half. Now I have 30 more free hours a week. I can start learning other skills and developing my own business. Start making your exit plan, right? But again, it might involve lifestyle changes. It might involve moving. It might involve changing jobs. Do you want to be free? Do you want to have privacy? Do you want your children to be free into the future? Then get past your discomfort, get past your fear, get past your doubt, and put everything you got into this. That's what we need.
Yes.
I'll give another example of exit and build. Thank you guys. You still with me? I got about 15, 20 more minutes, and I'm going to play some music for you tonight if you're down for that. Ramiro just talked a little bit about the technology, and it's so important because I'm not a software engineer. The tech side is not my thing, but I can use my platform to promote people like him who are providing those solutions, right? We've been traveling the country for the last month using his Above phone. Miriam and I have not been using Google Maps as we travel around the country. We're using 3 different open source alternative maps options. And yes, it's a learning curve. It looks different. Sometimes I'm like, wait, what the hell is this thing saying? Damn it, I took the wrong road. But it still feels better than using Google and giving them my every location, right? You have to be proactive. You got to take steps, right? And again, you might feel like you're totally plugged in, but something as simple as switching to search engine, helping him turn your computer over to Linux, so you're not supporting Bill Gates, so you're not supporting Apple and their suicide nets and all the things that come along with these horrible companies, right? You have to be proactive. I definitely want to encourage you to check out Take Back Our Tech. He's doing such important work in that arena, and I don't know if this was mentioned. We do have our email list on that table. If you are on the email list, or if you're not, if you want a chance to win one of the phones, we're going to raffle off a phone at the end of the tour. So by next week, when we get home, we're going to go through the whole list of everybody who entered. We're going to, randomly select somebody, and we'll be mailing you one of these Above phones if you're serious about trying these out. I encourage you to do this. So you can check out our email list and just put a little check next to your name. My point is, he's working on how do we exit from the technological solutions, right? So we're talking about food, we talk about the medical system, we talk about education system, we talk about technology, the political system, all these different areas. Food is a huge one right now. Anybody realistically concerned about food security, inflation? She bought a We're traveling the country right now, guys, and you can feel the inflation everywhere. Like, everything is up everywhere we go. Every place we're going, food prices are up, hotels are up. It's impossible to find things, and it's just crazy how you can see it, you can feel it now, and more people are becoming aware of it. It's by design, of course. They're going to crash the economy at some point to reset it. There'll be a new digital currency, social credit score, all those things. We need to be prepared for that. Think about economic security. If you don't want to learn about crypto or invest in that, that's fine. Start stocking up on precious metals. Buy things that hold value, tools, alcohol, tobacco. Develop skills. Make yourself valuable by being a useful person with a lot of skills and things to offer, right? The way I'm thinking about this is that if Miriam and I get our land and we're able to help our families and our immediate circles, then we can open up to more people. We can help other people build these networks of free communities around the world, right? But if I'm in scarcity mode and I'm just struggling to take care of us, I can't offer you a helping hand, right? So we need to make sure that we're not in scarcity mode. The more of us who feel secure, like, okay, I've got my family taken care of, we've got 6 months to a year of food in case anything happens. You don't necessarily need to be preparing for the zombie apocalypse. It could just be, a freak winter storm or whatever, right? The point is, you're prepared. We're at a point now where it's been demonized to be prepared, right? Prepping, you're a doomsday prepper, whatever, right? There's a lot of effort to make us think that, just think about the root of that word. Preparation, preparing. We're being told that that's like a crazy thing. You must be some right-wing extremist if you're prepared for the winter. I know that my grandmother and her farm in Kentucky, she's 85 years old. We just got to visit her recently. She's still canning from her garden every week, taking it down to her cellar, storing for the winter. She knows that if she doesn't bale the hay for the winter, the cows are going to die. Every single one of our ancestors got us here by preparing and thinking ahead. Now we've got to a point where we're so comfortable. We have the grocery store. We think it's going to be there forever. We think the lights are always going to turn on whenever we want it. We've given up a lot of skills. It's time for us to regain that, to reconnect to that, right? And to not be dependent on these systems. That's their trick. Once they create this world where it's a monopoly, you got to go out of your way to find a privacy phone. You got to go out of your way to find healthy, good food. Less and less in some places, but increasingly still difficult. They've created a system that does not cater to our principles, right? You have to go out of your way to try to be a principled person. So the key is to get out of that system and build something better. I just listed a few different examples. Again,